Okay, 23 minutes only.
Okay, so shadows and light. Here we have a cube in a space, but now let's put a light source. Where would you guys like a light source?
In front of it?
In front of it. Or here?
Left.
Left? Okay, left. Let's put a light source here. And we'll call it LS, and here's the point. Now, where would you like, say this is a room and this is a ceiling, where would you like the light source to hit the floor?
Like where's the floor?
Or the floor is
shadow
here.
point?
Yeah,
The
the
angle?
radiation point.
Oh.
Where would you guys like, right along this line? See, this is the eye level, it's horizontal. You'll have the radiation point will be along this perpendicular line. So where do you guys want a radiation point?
Maybe here? Is that basically how strong the light source is? Or
It's location in a cube. Like if this was a room, you would have a light source here, and the light source hits somewhere here on me. And if it was the floor and the light source was here, it will hit somewhere here. See, there's the reflection under you. So judging by that point, you would know the angle of how the light reflects. So from here, the shadow would go here, the shadow would go here. The radiation points, so find light source, or like established light source. Decide on a radiation point. It's called radiation point because that's where the light kind of radiates off the floor, the reflection. So that's the radiation point. So I'll put the radiation point a little lower because it's going to make it a little bit easier. So here's the total.
So you mean radiation point, you mean that's the point where the light bounces off some
Yeah,
other surface?
that's where it reflects, bounces off. Yeah. So have the light source and we have the radiation point. Now we have a simple object, we have a cube, and each side will produce a shadow. And that's important. Each side will produce a shadow, and each side is composed of Delilahs lining it this way. So you will think of the Delilahs as a wall cast in your shadow. So each radiation would go to the bottom of Delilah. Each radiation point would go through to the bottom of Delilah because this is where, because the cube is standing on the ground, the radiation point will angle through the ground, through the bottoms of each of the Delilahs. So through the bottoms of the corners of your cube. And the light source will go through the tops of the Delilahs because that's where it hits. It goes through like this. And then the shadows are where, the space of the shadow is where the light source and radiation cross in the end. So let's just draw it, and it would be much more visually accessible. So we'll start with this Delilah.
But now we need the inside of the cube, right?
Yeah, it would be nice to have the inside of the cube. Absolutely. So let's really have the inside of the cube. In this case, yeah, the inside of the cube is very valuable because you need the Delilahs. Imagine that there's a shape covered by Delilahs vertically. The radiation point, the one that shows where the light bounces off the floor, goes through all the places where the Delilahs are touching the ground, and the light source is casting lines over every top of the object. So right now, we have at our disposal 4 Delilah. So we have this Delilah, and this one. So we'll use this method for each one of them and see what kind of shadow we end up with. So we'll start with this generic Delilah, these four shortened ones. And we have a line going through LS. We'll put a line through the other Delilah right here. And I apologize for the smears, it's because this is a pen. So put a Delilah through here. And, I'm sorry, not Delilah, a line through this Delilah. This is especially useful if, say, you have to do a shadow of a cylinder. And a cylinder is a shape that's circular, so you have to find a bunch of its Delilahs, its vertical lines along that plane, that 12 plane. And now let's find lines from the radiation point. So for this line that goes through this Delilah, the leftmost Delilah, the shadow would lie inside the cube. As you can see, this is where, I'm sorry. It's a lot of information. It's really fast.
I'm just hungry and tired. It's not you.
It's not you.
That's why I'm recording this. I'm tired, and I could learn this over and over again.
And this, and radiation goes, I haven't eaten anything but breakfast today because I forgot my lunch. For this Delilah in the back corner, the LS to top of Delilah line means radiation through bottom of Delilah line. So let's draw the bottom of Delilah so we know. Unfortunately for us, this is where it crosses, so that's not useful to us because it's inside the cube again. Now so we have done this one, now let's do this outmost one of the most. So radiation through the bottom, and this time, joy, it's not inside.
Whew.
Finally. But remember, these are important points that are inside too, because they'll show you which way the shadow goes. So now finally this one, the radiation point goes here, and we have covered them. Radiation goes through here. Okay, this is where it is. So here are our 4 points. So what we did is we connected the LS to top of each Delilah, and then we connected a rad point, so radiation, to points to bottoms of Delilahs that touch the ground. So now, and then thirdly, we mapped the intersections. So here are intersections, and I'll make them in blue so they're very obvious to see. So here's an intersection, here's an intersection, here's one, and here's one. And now we connect these ones to figure out the shadow. Oh, Lord.
How about the other corner at the bottom?
Oh, which one? This one?
The right one?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, we haven't done that one? Oh, okay.
I think you did one of them
Oh,
twice.
I forgot to, yeah. I see what you guys
It's lonely.
Yeah.
It's fine.
This is weird. I feel like we ended up with more points. For 1 second, let me reset. So we have one here. We have, oh. One here for this one, and for this one we have one right here. Is that correct? Correct. And this one.
Oh yeah, can you pause for a moment? I had to change my camera to my iPhone since
Oh, okay.
my camera's gonna die soon.
So this is the shadow. This is the mapped out points. When you have so many lines, you start confusing where exactly the points meet. So now we meet all of these points. We connect them, kind of like connect the dots essentially. And the ones that are inside the square are just as important because they show you which direction to move. So this is for this setup.